Hello, welcome once again, and in today's lesson we are going to look at the topic that says Geographic Information System. And this topic might be, somewhat new to you, or you might have seen it before, but in this lesson we are going to go deeper into what Geographic Information System and what it entails. So quickly, for this lesson we'll look at the origin of GIS, then we go over to the meaning of GIS and also geographic data, then we'll look at the concept of georeferencing and what it means, and the sources of GIS and geographic data, and as well the importance of georeferencing, geographic data and GIS. So these are what we'll be looking at in this lesson now. So let's start with the origin of GIS. Now, the origin of GIS could be, traced to a man known as Dr. Roger Tomlinson, a Canadian. He was based in Ontario in Canada. Now, in 1968, he created the world's first GIS, while he was working for the Canadian government. And it was called the Canada Geographic Information System, CGIS. And this work actually pioneered spatial data analysis. In his research, he highlighted the concept of GIS in his paper in that 1968, and due to this research and findings, he was named the father of GIS. And ever since then, GIS has been adopted, worldwide, for map making, for earth management, and different applications we have in our technological world today. So let's look at the meaning of GIS. Now, the word GIS actually stands for Geographic Information System. Geographic Information System. So it means that it's coined from geography, it's coined from information, and it's coined from system. So before we look at the definition, let us look at a little analysis of the word GIS. Now, when we talk about geography, we're actually talking about the earth, description of the earth or anything related to the earth. And when we talk about information, it deals with what processed data. And then system has to do with a collection of bodies or parts that function together to achieve a common goal. So with that breakdown, we can now see GIS as a computer-based system that captures, stores, check, integrates, analyzes, and display data that is spatially referenced. Or you can as well say that GIS is a computer system that captures geographic data, analyzes the geographic data, processes the geographic data, stores the geographic data, and presents this geographic data in a form called what? Information. So that's also what GIS. So GIS is both a database system with specific capabilities for spatially referenced data, as well as a set of operations for working with the data. Now, let's look at further description of what GIS is. So we can see GIS as a tool, and not just a tool, a technological tool that we use to analyze and visualize, information related to the Earth's surface, and also information that are location based. So one thing about GIS is that it combines hardware, combines software and data to collect, manage, and analyze geographic information. So without this GIS in place, it will be very difficult to get information about places on the Earth's surface, or places all around the world, the globe. So with the help of GIS, we can analyze different data, about places, data about people, data about objects that are found on the surface of the Earth, and we can visualize them, on Earth's surface. We can create a description of these data, and we can even find them with their references on the Earth surface. So with the help of GIS, all of these can be achieved. So if we know what GIS is, now what then is the geographic data? Because we say that GIS has to do with what? Capturing data, processing and analyzing this data and the rest. So what then is the geographic data that is needed for GIS? So put it as this: geographic data refers to data that has a direct reference to a location on the Earth's surface. Now, when we talk about direct reference to location on the Earth, we're actually talking about the coordinates like latitude and longitude. We're actually talking about attributes, linked to a particular location, like people's name, people's population, and the elevation of a place. Then we're also talking about, relationship between features like proximity between places or objects. And we're also, referring to this thing, natural features that we have on the Earth's surface. So all of these things are what are found under what geographic data. So when we are talking about places on a map, is actually a geographic data. When we are talking about population data, is actually a geographic data. When we are talking about number of objects we have in a particular place, is also what a geographic data. So all of those data that has reference to a particular place on the Earth's surface is what we call what a geographic data. Now, this is an illustration, showing someone, utilizing this geographic data from the Earth's surface or from the globe. So that analysis is what geographic data. Now let's look at geospatial data. Now when we talk about the word spatial, we are talking about anything that is related to the Earth's surface, like the surface of the Earth. So geospatial data is like a broader description of geographic data. So it refers to data that has a geographic component or a location component. Now for geospatial data, geographic data actually falls under geospatial data. So it's one of the components of geospatial data. So it means that the first component of the geospatial data is the geographic data. And also we have location data collected by GPS devices. We have satellite images and aerial images. These are also geospatial data. We have maps and boundaries. These are geospatial data. We have geotag multimedia, like social media posts, photos and videos. They all fall under geospatial data. Now, a good example of that is your Facebook and Twitter. Now, you see that these social media devices, they have a way of assigning location to your to your tweets, to your post on Facebook, to your post on Instagram. They all have location, right? So that is also a geospatial data, because they tag a location to your multimedia and post. Then we also have it that geospatial data provides spatial reference and context for mapping. So without that geospatial data, we cannot really create a reference for map or a context for maps, and also to visualize them and make analysis. So all of these are really possible with the help of geospatial data. And let's look at the forms of geospatial data or geographic data. Now, when we talk about the forms, we are talking about the ways in which they can be presented, to users like us. Now, geospatial data can be presented in a line form, it can be presented in a point form, and it can also be presented in a polygon form, and can as well be presented in a pixel form. So what I'm trying to say is that for the forms of geographic data, we have the line data, we have the points data, we have the polygon data, and we have the pixel data. So geospatial data and geographic data can appear in these in these forms. Now let's look at the forms one after the other. Now the first one, which is called the line data. Now, if you look at a map, for instance, geographic data can be presented in form of lines. Example of this is roads, rivers, and railway line, and also telecommunication line. Now, when you look at a map, the cartographers, they actually use lines, to indicate a road and also indicate a river. That's an example of a line what data. Then we have points data. Objects that are represented with points on the earth surface, things like buildings, settlements, towns, villages, compounds, farmlands, and the rest. We actually use what points to represent this a piece of data. So we call that point data, and it's also a form of what? Geographic data. Then we have polygon data. Polygon shapes, and examples can be land area, can be land parameter, can be zones on a map, or can be a particular region on a map. This is what a polygon, and it's referred to as polygon what? Data. Then we have pixel data. And pixel data, a good example of a pixel data for geographic data is actually pictures, diagrams, sketches, and drawings that we have on a map. So these are some of the forms of geographic data or geospatial data. Now, what are the sources of geographic data or geospatial data? Where can we get these data? Now, geographic data or geospatial data can be gotten from analog or paper maps. So you see that map in your atlas, you see that cadastral map that you use to locate a place, you see that thematic map that has to do with any topic or any theme in geography. All of these maps that are analog, they are what? They are sources of geospatial or geographic data. So it means that we can consult them to get a certain data or information about a particular place or thing that is found on the Earth's surface. And the next source of geographic or geospatial data is from field work. So when we carry out field work by means of surveying, by means of measuring places or facilities, we are actually getting a good geographic data or geospatial data. So it means that it is a source of of geographic data. Now, a good example, digitally is the GPS. With the help of GPS, we can easily locate places, or locate objects or people or things on the surface of the earth. So it's a source of GIS data. Then the next source of geographic data is called the satellite imagery or remote sensing. Now, the remote sensing devices or equipment, they are simply those equipments that don't need a contact, within the earth surface before they can obtain information. So they are directly up there in space, and they receive information of the earth surface without having a contact with the earth surface. So when they receive this information via the satellite, they send the data gotten, they send it to the database station, where it can be processed to a meaningful information for our use. Then the next source of geographic data is aerial photographs. Photographs that we get from the atmosphere, via drone, via cameras that are installed up in the atmosphere, or from higher buildings. They are sources of geographic data. And geographic data can also be gotten from reports, can be gotten from publications, that we have within us. If you go to the urban planning office, you can get publications there, you can get reports there. These are sources of geographic data or sources of geospatial data. Then we have digital maps. Digital maps like the one you have on your mobile phone. A good example is the Google Map. This is also a source of geographic data. Whenever you need information, or let's say a brief data about a particular place on the earth surface, you can easily consult this digital maps. You know, you can, if you don't have it on your mobile device, you can as well what purchase it from a store or get it from a storage what media. So they are what sources of what geographic or geospatial data. Now, let's look at what the term georeferencing. Now we have it that georeferencing can be, you know, seen as the process of fixing location, you know, or features on the Earth's surface within a spatial what background of a particular coordinate system. Also, you can see it as the process of scaling, the process of rotating, translating, and skewing the image to match a particular what size. Or you can as well call georeferencing the process of placing an image into a two-dimensional space. Now, let me give an easier explanation of what georeferencing is. Now, assuming you've seen a puzzle, you know, or you're being issued a puzzle, and the puzzle is scattered, you know, and you're asked to, you know, fix the puzzle and ensure that the image required is what is obtained. Now, that's how georeferencing can be what can be likened to. So the process where you begin to pick up pieces of that puzzle, you know, to form the complete image, you know, is likened to what? To georeferencing. So in georeferencing, all you simply need to do is to fix a particular place on the Earth's surface with a coordinate, you know, so that when you search for it on a map or anywhere, you can easily get the position of that place and get the location of that place. Now let me give an instance. Like in your street, you see people, you know, trying to, you know, give addresses to the houses in your estate or in your locality. They are like, okay, this place is number 1, this place is number 2, this place is number 3, this one is lane 4, this one is lane 5, this one is lane 6. You know, that's what georeferencing is likened to. So, you know, you assign a position to a place, you know, based on latitude and longitude. You know, you give them coordinates so that whenever someone refers to that place on the map, they easily get the coordinates. So georeferencing actually matches data like names and photos to the right place on the digital map using these coordinates. So a good example is the Google map. Now, when you check for a particular place on the Google map, let's say your house, and you search for it, you realize that the moment you tap on that place, there is actually a coordinate assigned to that place. That's because that your house has been referenced to the Earth's surface. So all of those processes, you know, involved in making that coordinate, you know, appear for your house is what we call georeferencing. So what is the importance of georeferencing? Now, the first importance of georeferencing is that it helps us to determine map orientation and map scale. Now, if these places, you know, they are not issued a coordinate or they are not properly referenced, it will be very difficult to, you know, get the scale of that map. Let's say Nigeria. If the map of Nigeria and the states, you know, we have in Nigeria, they are not referenced, it will be very difficult for us to you know, scale the map or give the map a good orientation. The reason we know that Nigeria is found between latitude 4 and 14 degree north is because it has been referenced. So that's one thing about georeferencing. And the good thing about georeferencing also is that it helps to remove distortion that we have in maps. You know, all of this confusion, you know, and numerical distortion is being taken away from a map whenever the entire map is georeferenced. Then the third importance of georeferencing is that it helps us to associate geographical locations with with records that we have. So when we do this, there will be no confusion, and there will be no need for for any form of distortion. And also, georeferencing can help to provide reference for raster data. You know, all of the raster data we have, possibly on a map or on a given surface, you know, is being referenced with the help of georeferencing. Let's say a raster data like a place or a physical feature on a map. we use the process of georeferencing to provide reference for, such. And also it helps us to find the actual locations on Earth's surface. To find a place on Earth's surface, without georeferencing, it will be very difficult to do so. So we need georeferencing for that. And also it will help, to create an aerial or satellite image. Georeferencing helps to create aerial or satellite imagery. So most of those satellite images or aerial images that we have as source of geographic or geospatial data is actually gotten as a result of georeferencing. And with the help of georeferencing, we can easily transform the Earth to a flat map. Now remember that the Earth has a geoid shape, and it means that the Earth is round. So in order to get something like a flat map, which we have in our present day Earth, it's made possible from the process of georeferencing. So all I'm trying to say is that georeferencing helps us to convert the initial appearance of the Earth in a geoid shape to a flat surface. Now let's look at further importance of georeferencing. It helps for air navigation. You see those pilots, that fly from one country to the other. The reason for that is because most places on the Earth's surface, they've been referenced properly. So with that, they can easily navigate through the air to their various destination. And also georeferencing allows measurements on the Earth's surface using coordinates. So with the help of latitude and longitude, we can easily measure places on the Earth's surface. Just like the Nigeria, we can measure the distance from the north to the southern part of Nigeria, and from the east to the western part of Nigeria as 1,000 kilometers approximately, and also 1,300 kilometers approximately. So this is made possible with the help of georeferencing. And also it helps to provide a spatial framework, to analyze features. Without georeferencing, it will be very difficult to analyze features that we see on the Earth's surface. And also georeferencing helps us to represent the Earth mathematically. When we say that the Earth is a geoid shape, or it has an ellipsoid shape, or the orbit is in form of an ellipse, that's because all of these things has been referenced. And without this georeferencing, it will be very difficult to carry out this mathematical illustration of how the Earth is, or how the orbit of the Earth is. And also georeferencing helps us to display point coordinates, and also to determine the value of these coordinates that we have on the Earth's surface. So let's go over to geographic data. Now, what's the importance of geographic data? Now, the first importance of geographic data is that it provides us with raw facts that we obtain from the Earth's surface. So remember that data means raw facts, and these raw facts are pertain to they have locational features or geospatial characteristics. So they are gotten from the Earth's surface. Then the next thing about geographic data is that with the help of the geographic data, when we input them, it will help us to generate a form of geographic information. And also, facts that are gotten from geographic data can be processed into information that we can use in different sectors in our daily activities. And facts like names, facts like addresses, facts like codes about features, they are gotten from this geographic data, and they are now used for different purposes, like in terms of population, in terms of governmental, in terms of administration and the rest. So all of these facts can be collated. Now a good example is this. I went online to search for house addresses of a particular city, and I realized that all of these places, their names, addresses and codes were all stacked there. That's because that geographic data has been obtained by someone in that place, and used to provide a form of information, a tabular information that someone can refer to and learn from. So when I got there, I saw the names of the streets, that is the complete address, and also the zip code and postal code. So that's one thing that geographic data can do for us. And also it helps us to observe the earth and monitor the earth. So with this data we get, with these findings we get, when we use the various processes or procedure, we can use them to observe various activities, especially natural activities going on the earth surface, and we can use them to measure their effects. Now a good example is earthquake, a good example is hurricane, and a good example is some of these natural phenomena that happens. Now with the help of geographic data, we can easily predict when they will happen, and we can easily measure their intensity. We can easily reduce their effect on the earth surface. And also geographic data helps to provide facts and figures about places, about people, about objects and events on the earth surface. So with the help of geographic data, we can tell people about a particular place, describe to them everything about that place without going to such a particular place. And also we can even locate objects and also describe these objects on the earth surface. So this is another importance of geographic data. Now let's look at the uses of GIS. What do we use GIS for? Now we start with the first use of GIS. Now, in the aspect of engineering, in the aspect of data exploration, hazard management, environmental management, transportation, telecom, and science and defense, we use map data, to process for these sectors. So what I'm trying to say is that these various sectors I have mentioned, they actually use everything gotten from GIS. So GIS is an essential component in engineering, is important in science, is important in defense, is important in exploration, is important in the environment, is also important in telecom sector. So a good example is the army, the Nigerian army or the army of a particular country. With the help of GIS, they can easily monitor their opponents, or will I say their enemies, study their territories and study how to attack them. In terms of hazards, you can use GIS to predict the outcome of various environmental hazards and deal with them effectively. So GIS is very important in that aspect. And also, geospatial technology geospatial technology is very important, when we come to remote sensing, surveying, and cartography. Now, GIS has made it so possible that, this aspect of remote sensing, this aspect of surveying and cartography, has become a success. So it is the framework of these aspects. So without GIS, it's very difficult to, illustrate the concept of cartography or remote sensing or surveying, because it serves as the core of these geospatial technology. So that's one importance or use of GIS. And also GIS also helps us environmentally to reduce natural disasters and damage like flooding. Now let me give an instance. With the help of GIS, we can easily predict if we will have flooding or not. We can even easily predict things like earthquake. We can predict things like hurricane, and we can, from this data we get from this natural events, we can easily plan ahead, to safeguard humanity and also safeguard our environment. So it helps a whole lot to reduce natural disasters. And also GIS is actually important in the aspect of social media integration. So you see that your favorite social media platforms like Twitter, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and the rest, they actually integrate GIS into their system to help them, track location of users and where they are using the platform from. So with that, they can easily know where you're tweeting from or where you're chatting from, across the surface of the earth. And they also have a database of all their users in terms of name, age, and nationality and the rest. So that's also what GIS. And also we use GIS, for rescue operations, whenever there's an earthquake, in order to rescue people, found in such a particular place, we make use of of GIS. Now, let me give an instance. Let's say we have an earthquake, in a place somewhere around the Pacific Ring of Fire, and we have people in such a particular place. So, with the help of rescue operation mapping, we can easily pick out people from there, and take out the survivors. So that's where GIS can also come into play. And GIS helps in emergency planning. The government, they also use GIS to make decisions. You look at a particular place, we hit by possibly an occurrence, a sudden occurrence like flooding and the rest. With the help of GIS, the government can easily make an emergency plan, and they can also make some other decisions that will help their policies. And also the aspect of business and insurance, they make use of GIS as well to make their decisions and planning. So let's look at the other use of GIS. So the next use of GIS is describing the world. So without GIS, it will be very difficult for us to describe the world geographically. So with the help of GIS, we can easily locate places and tell people about continents, tell people about vegetations and the rest. That's because the data has been obtained and processed for us to be able to interpret the world geographically. And the good thing about GIS is that it has helped to improve our problem solving capacity, as humans on the earth's surface. So with the help of GIS, we can easily tackle issues disturbing the earth's surface, issues like global warming, issues like greenhouse effect and the rest. We solve this problem of climate change with the help of GIS, because it helps us to understand our earth better and understand places. So with that, we can easily solve the problem. And also GIS is also an important aspect of IT infrastructure. So we need GIS in the aspect of information technology, and it helps us to get some facts about the earth's surface, and understand these facts about the earth's surface. The fact that the earth is geode, revolution, rotation, all of these facts, and things about the earth's surface, they are actually gotten from geographic or geospatial data. And the GIS helps people in the weather sector, people in the meteorological sector, to get hydrological data, to get, data about rainfall, data about precipitation and the rest, to get data about, physical phenomena on the earth's surface, it's made possible from GIS. And in the aspect of transportation, and logistics, they actually use GIS to plan and to carry out their various activities. GIS also helps in emergency planning like crime analysis, highway planning, public health, land use, economic recovery, precision farming. All of these, they actually integrate GIS to solve their problems. So if you work in the police department, you want to solve crimes, going on in a particular place, with the help of GIS, CCTV, GPS, and satellites, you can easily solve that particular case. So that's one importance of GIS. And also it helps us to integrate various geospatial data. Most of these data, normally they are raw facts and they don't really make sense. But with the help of GIS, we can integrate all of this data, and transform them to a form of geographic information we can easily understand. And also GIS helps for disaster mapping. So it's used for disaster mapping and temporal shelter locating. So when people are in a place where there's a disaster, it's very easy with the help of GIS to take them away from that place and find a temporary shelter location where they reside. So this is a good use of GIS. So let's look at some questions on what? On GIS. Now the first one says, what is GIS? Now first and foremost, GIS stands for what? Geographic Information System. And we can define GIS as a computer what? System that collects data, analyzes the geographical data, processes the data, stores the data, and presents this data in form of what? Information. So any computer system that can do such is called what? Geographic Information System. So what are the uses of GIS? Like I said, we use it for disaster what? Mapping. You know, GIS is used for social media integration. GIS is used by the government to make decisions. We use GIS in the banking and insurance sector for planning and decision making. GIS is also used to describe the Earth geographically. So these are some uses of what? Of GIS. And the next question says, define the term georeferencing. Georeferencing has to do with assigning what? Location and positions to objects in a two-dimensional what? Space, or fixing objects with what? With locations on the what? Earth surface. And I told you, about georeferencing, that it's just similar to what? You using what? Using a puzzle, trying to fix pieces of a puzzle, to get a full image. And that's what georeferencing is likened to. So when you fix locations to objects, you're actually carrying out what? Georeferencing. And it's made possible by what? Scaling and rotating these objects to achieve the desired what? Coordinates. So with that, we have come to the end of the class. So thank you for staying with us. See you later.